1 minute past 10. So I suggest to kick it off. I see some more people joining, but we can slowly get started. So welcome everybody to this webinar regarding our latest data platform release. We're very happy to have all of you here today. Couple of things to get started. We will love to answer your questions, and we will do that at the end of the webinar. There is a question feature in the webinar software, so you can raise your questions there. We will take a look at it, try to cluster them and answer them at the end as a team. Sie können auch Ihre Frage auf Deutsch stellen. Meine Kollegen können das übersetzen. So German questions can be asked. My colleagues will translate it, so we can make sure that everybody has a good opportunity to raise their questions. With that, I would like to start with introducing our speakers of today. First of all, hi, my name is Jetro Borsje. I'm our Chief Product and Technology Officer at Lobster, and I have some people from my team here today to present and demo some of the cool new features we have, or we're going to release. First of all, Marco, he is our Director of Product. We have Rick, our Director of Engineering. And we have Julius, one of our engineers, working on a very specific feature we would love to show you. So with that team, we will use the next hour to fully get you up to speed of what has been released last week, actually. So let's dive in and show you the main topics of today. So we released Lobster Data Platform 26.1 last Tuesday, so it's hot off the press. And today we would like to show you 4 highlights. The first one is a Trading Partner Manager. The second one is Process Map, where you can see how profiles interact together. The third one is it's Pathfinder. We have enhanced our AI Copilot called Pathfinder with some new capabilities, which we will love to demo today. And finally, we will talk about observability, meaning that you can monitor the health of the data platform through third-party tools, because we know many of you have tools like New Relic or Grafana or Datadog, and you can now attach those to the data platform to see how healthy everything is. Now, I can talk about it for hours, but I'd love to hand it over to my team. So Marco, let's kick it off with Trading Partner Manager.
Thank you, Jetro, and welcome from my side as well. I'm really happy to start with our release highlights. And the first of them is the Trading Partner Manager, for sure. So think about the last time you onboard a new trading partner. How much of your IT time was spent actually configuring the system versus chasing emails, waiting on for responses, clarifying requirements, and coordinate test windows? For the most of our customers, the answer is simply maybe 10% real work and 90% coordination overhead. And your IT teams becomes really expensive email rely. The Trading Partner Manager doesn't magically make your trading partners respond faster, because that's out of our control. And finally, the mapping of the business processes still needs to require your expertise of your experts. But what we can do eliminate here is to call it the coordination burden. Give your partner self-service path to free up your IT resources and focus on what actually needs their skills. And to visualize that a bit more, I have a small picture here to outline what Trading Partner Manager is in a nutshell. So in a nutshell, Trading Partner Manager is an additional service on top of Lobster Data Platform. It sits in the cloud, it lives in our infrastructure, and it can create a safe connection between your Lobster Data Platform, doesn't matter where they're hosted, are they in our cloud or are they on-premise, and your customers. So you have a manageable, customizable portal based on our infrastructure, no hassle to set it up. You can easily customize a form, customize your workflow, can choose what kind of protocols you want to support, what kind not. And then invite your customers via email. You have a customized email. You will see that in the demo from Julius right now. And you walk your customers through a defined process to onboard them to your system. But enough of my speech. Let's directly move to Julius. Julius, over to you, who give us a small demo about that.
Yes, thank you, Marco. So let me share my screen. I will basically show you two perspectives right now. First perspective is I'm a platform user, Lobster data platform user, and I want to set up a connection to the trading partner manager to be able to manage my channels, invite my partner through this tool. So first I want to go to our new menu entry and just set up the connection. So I'm making sure that my platform is connected to the centralized service that you've seen in the middle. There's some handshaking going on to set up a secure connection. I will accept that the trading partner manager does a remote management of my channels, and I can now see how my platform looks from the trading partner manager perspective. Let's give it a new name, my LDP, and I will now configure this LDP. I will go back to my platform to get some certificates. First, I see in this view that everything works. The connection to the trading partner manager is operational. Now I just copy paste the ID of my certificate in here. So I will be able to use this certificate to set up secure channels, which I can now configure right here in my global settings. So I can now select what kind of channels should be managed through the trading partner manager. I will select SFTP for our example here, incoming data flow, and reference my certificate that I just synced. And now I can globally use this SFTP configuration to invite partners. So I want to now send an invitation to a new trading partner. I will do this via mail. Contact person of this trading partner will receive my mail, and I will also already use these global settings that I just configured. I want this partner to set up an SFTP channel with my LDP. So this is what it looks like. In this case, it's Lobster branded. The business partner will hit the link, create a password, onboard himself to the trading partner manager. But let's just save this as a draft and move a little quicker by using this partner that I already invited. And I now use the same global configuration for setting up this SFTP channel and request this partner actually to set up a SFTP channel. Now I change perspectives. I will now log into the trading partner manager, the same system, the one in the middle as a partner. I will agree to the privacy agreements and basically now jump right into the setup of the channels. So I see that this LDP user just invited me and asked me to set up an SFTP connection with his LDP. So I see that his LDP has a particular URL. This is protocol SFTP. This is the SFTP user. I can download his certificate right here. And I as a partner now want to upload my certificate to actually authenticate properly. So I will confirm the setup right here. And what now happens is that the channel the channel settings are now synced to the LDP. It is active. So there's actually a channel created in the LDP, and I can now take this user credentials to my SFTP client and connect. So the connection already worked. And Marco said, we also now want the partner to really validate this connection. So I can download a test file and save this test file and use this actually to put this into my SFTP client and really send a file through the connection. And I see that this test was successful. So changing perspectives again, I'm the LDP user now, looking into the trading partner manager UI. I see that my partner accepted the invite and tested the channel successfully. And now on my LDP, I can also see that there was a channel created for this particular partner automatically with an auto-generated user. And I can also see that this test file actually landed on my system. So this is basically what Trading Partner Manager does. I'm now ready to use this automatically create a channel in my profiles and continue with, let's say, what are the actual integration tasks. So back to you, Marco.
Awesome. Thanks, Julius, for the demo. So you already saw how fast or how many hours we can unlock with this feature. So faster onboarding time, you have a one-time setup to really define your processes, what kinds of view channel you want to offer, what kinds of view integration you want to invite your partners, and then the rest is nearly automated. This is a really step forward, and this could unlock so many resources on your side. But having said that, let's move forward to the next highlight of our release, who is our new feature called Process Map. So if you are an integration developer of our platform, you will probably built something incredibly complex over the years, dozens, maybe hundreds of profiles, all connected in ways they make your business run smoothly, and you know every dependency, every trigger, every edge case. But here's the thing, what happens if a new colleague joins your organization and that needs to get productive faster? Or what happens if you come back to an integration built a year ago or a few years ago? How this actually works for you. So Profile Map gives you instant clarity here. For training, we have now a visual onboarding tool to get your new team member fast up really on speed. So he can see immediately what happens in your integration in hours and not weeks. And for yourselves, it's like a gift for your future self, a clear navigatable overview that brings you right back into the context. Know better how long it has been before you were in your integration. And having said that, I will hand over to my colleague Rick, who will give you a live demo to demonstrate that really clear. Rick, over to you.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's have a look at some profiles. So imagine you are on a system with 3 existing profiles and you want to understand what is going on here. This is exactly why we've created Process Map. So to get started, let me just take a simple use case. One profile, it has an input agent, it has a related partner channel, and all it does, it backups the file, it actually sends back a response through HTTPS as well as via email. So you can see here the capability shows a profile in its context. I can also zoom out a little bit. So in this case, actually, I say my profile actually is calling another profile. So I get more context. Again, we come in via FTP, then we have a profile. That profile is still linked to a channel, but in there we have a function that calls another profile. So like deep down in this long complex map, there's this function, and we can see this function actually calls a profile called resolve customer reference, which will eventually pass back the data response. So you can see how one profile calls another profile. And of course, with the introduction of the platform, we've created lots of different things that can work together. It's not only profiles. To show how that works, I can also take an example here, like get CRM customer info. I can display that as a process map, and it's awesome. Like, it doesn't show just profiles. I can also see if this is triggered by a portal or an MCP server, a REST API, and of course, if you would have, for instance, an event handling, all of those different components of our platform, they all link together, and it shows the profiles and all the other topics in its context. So you can see I can show it here, but if I were to go, for instance, to API Manager and I take that particular MCP server, I can also do a right-click process map and show it from there. I can see the same information. So from lots of places in the platform, you can access this amazing feature to understand where you are, what the context is, what it's calling, and what can call it. But it's not that. I can even zoom out and I can take, for instance, a whole group. And if I take that whole group, I can understand how does my larger process work. And you can see in green everything that was in the group that I selected, and everything that is not green is basically something that somehow gets pulled in. So you can really understand how does this profile group work with the rest of the system. And I can do some nifty things. So I could say I search for DHL to understand everything that works with DHL. So you get that particular highlight. So if you're working on a particular business partner or sets of mapping, you can do this. And of course, you can zoom, you can use the mini map to navigate and all those things. One of the things that we've introduced with our platform that I think is really, really cool is the split view. So if I do a split horizontal, you can still see your profile map. So you still have this overall overview of what is going on. But from there, I can double click and I can open a particular profile. I can inspect the mapping and do everything I want. Or I double click on a channel and I directly see the channel details. And of course, those channels can also be fed through the trading partner manager. So they can come from all those different ways. So I think it's a really awesome feature because it allows you to really understand what is going on in your platform, whether it is for new users trying to understand what is happening, or if you're trying to debug a complex profile chain. I think it's a game changer. And with that, back to you, Marco.
Thank you, Rick. Awesome presentation. Let me switch back to our slides. So what you already saw is the first step in a bigger initiative we have started at Lobster to really modernize our user experience and also give you all the tools in your hand to get overview, get faster, get more productive. With the profile map available right now, you have more visual context overview, you have an easier documentation, but you also are able to have easier troubleshoot if something happens in your system, and we will definitely invest more over the next releases. One thing we are discuss at the moment is also to give you active visualization about when something's stuck in your process. But yeah, that's for the future. Let me move forward to the next release highlight, and this is again enhancements on our AI, on our Pathfinder enhancements. So what I find really unique about our platform is that if you're a developer, you can't just Google if you're stuck. You can't go to Stack Overflow, or you can even use the standard models outside, so ChatGPT or Anthropic, to figure out how that works or figure out how you can fix an issue. Our documentation is the only resources, most likely, or the experts you have. And that's exactly why we're building Pathfinder in the first place, not to replace you or even not to replace other AI systems, but to co-pilot you, to help you to understand our platform, to be faster, and to really help you on your day-to-day job. And last year, we introduced our chatbot and our function chain documentation. Last year in October, we introduced error log handling. So the error log, our Pathfinder explain you the error log, and smart function shirts. And this year, so with 26.1, we invest even more into our agentic system with a text-to-SQL and a cron tab syntax generation. And having said that, I will hand over back to Rick, who will give us a quick demo about that.
Thank you, Marco. So let's create a profile. I'm not super good at writing SQL, but I do need to integrate with the database. So what I do is I create a profile, of course, and then I select a scheduled basic SQL input agent. I, of course, select the database I want to work with. And yeah, normally I would start writing SQL, maybe do some search on the internet, but I'm too lazy for that. And my normal ChatGPT skills don't really work because ChatGPT doesn't know my database. So what I do is I click the Pathfinder button. And then Pathfinder opens up and it knows automatically that I'm in the context of the Pathfinder database schema, like the one I selected here. And then I can say, can you give me the top 5 customers? because the database we're working with is a lightweight CRM with customers and orders and other things. And then, of course, it doesn't just give me a query. It actually says, well, top 5 customers, what is top 5? That would be total spent on order amount at which period, at all time. And please include the customer name. Then I can basically hit send. So I give Pathfinder additional information, and Pathfinder now will give me a query. So it automatically created a query for me. I can copy this query. If I want to understand even more, I can also explain the query, and Pathfinder will explain to me how this query came alive and what kind of joins are happening and how that works. I will skip that for now. And what I'll just do is I'll hit test SQL, and it will show me Henry Miller had a total spend of $520. So basically that means I get exactly what I want. If I like this, I can hit create structure, and I go to phase 3, and you can see it took the output of my SQL, and it knows first name, last name, and total spend, so I can do some logic with it. Let's say now I want to run this regularly. For that reason, I go to times and execution. And yeah, me, this integration specialist, I also don't really know my cron syntax. So what I'll do is I'll go to cron syntax, and I hit generate syntax, and I can say to Pathfinder, let's do it at weekdays at 6 p.m. And Pathfinder will now try to give me a cron syntax. It tells me that this is the value I need, and it actually gives me some examples to see, does this make sense, yes or no? And again, I can hit this button, it automatically inserts it, and now I know what is happening here. Suppose after some time I come back and I'm like, oh, I don't know exactly what this means. I find it still hard syntax to understand, so I can just click on the record, I can hit explain syntax, and then Pathfinder will tell me back like what exactly it is that I'm looking at, again with examples. So the whole idea here is Pathfinder is now exactly in context where I need it to help me with those tasks that I find a little bit hard, and that makes it really easy for you to actually build your integrations. But how does all this beauty work? So we have the Lobster data platform. That's where I was, of course. In there, I can do my my requests, and of course this works if my Lobster data platform runs in the Lobster cloud, as well as when this runs on premises. From there, if I trigger a Pathfinder request, it will basically go into the Pathfinder services here in the middle. The first step it will do is we'll do full security, so we make sure that we anonymize all the information so that we don't have any like personal identifiable information, or that we don't misuse Pathfinder. So we make sure that there's that security layer up front. Then basically it hits our layer of agent orchestration, because we want to know exactly like what is the request, what do we need for this, and then we have all kinds of different agents that we can ask to help us out here. And Marco mentioned already a bunch of them, like the error analysis agent, the SQL agent to help you use SQL query, the cron agent, the ones you just saw, but also the one that has the functions. So we can explain functions, we can document function chains, we can search them. And of course, we have way more specialized skills. And in the upcoming months, we'll be adding additional agents. So we basically give Pathfinder additional LDP skills to make sure it can do all those amazing things for you. And as you might already think, this also allows us to build up to that holy grail of the auto mapping. And for that, of course, we feed it with Lobster knowledge, which is like documentation, but also internal best practices. And we use Amazon Bedrock LLMs that we have configured to not train on your data. And anything that flows through this system is only metadata, only configuration. So we do not think about topics like actually sending the database information to us. The only thing we see is the schema, not the data in your database. And it's the same with functions and mapping. We don't see what data you progress. The only thing we see is the metadata, or like the configuration of the schema. And with that, back to you, Marco.
Thanks, Rick. Awesome demo. And you already summarized anything I want to say. So let's move forward directly to our next feature. And I think the last highlights for today, for sure not the last highlight for the whole release. And that's our investment in observability through third-party tools. So if you are in charge of IT, and especially on a bigger IT organization, you all know that it's hard to manage all of them together. And typically you have your favorite tools outside where you monitor and observe all your different IT systems, players like Grafana, New Relic, Datadog, all that stuff. And it was really hard in the past for you to also monitor Lobster on the same way, because there was no real access for that systems to grab the metrics, to grab all the different informations, to see also the special Lobster metrics inside of your favorite tool. With this release, we will change that. So there is no single pane of glass anymore. You can create the same alerting, the same escalation paths in your favorite tool as it is with any other system. And to make that really clear, we also prepare a demo for that. We also prepare some predefined dashboards, but Rick will give you a brief overview about that. Rick, over to you.
Sounds good. All right. So what we've added here in this release is the ability to add monitoring. So what you can see here is I created a configuration for New Relic, and in there I basically said, we send this out through the OpenTelemetry monitoring standard. So multiple different observability tools support this standard, and we can just push the metrics there. We also support some other standards like Prometheus, which is typically used combined with Grafana, as well as the proprietary information from Datadog. You give it a service name, so it's easy to find back the service. You give it an environment, so you can actually filter your test versus productive environment. And then there are some other minor settings that I won't talk about for now. Once you have this, it automatically applies the agent. So there's no restart needed, no deep diving into XML configurations or anything like it. Actually, something that you'll see is a recurring theme on how we nowadays try to build our configurations. And that means now we have this configured, it starts to send out the information. Then over to New Relic. So here I have a dashboard in New Relic that basically shows all the information that is being sent out. So I can see things like CPU charge, the amount of threads, but I can also have a look in my queue. So I can see what is the status of my queue. I have a bunch of charts to see like what is the trend on my my CPU usage, and I can see exactly like what is happening here. I can zoom out in time and I can see what is happening, and I can basically like drill down into like thread counts, live threads, memory usage, basic information of the system, like how many cores do I have, what is the environment, or which version do I run on. So if you have different versions running in your landscape, you can see, are they all in the latest version, or is my test running ahead to make sure that I can test my patches. And here I can see some job processing rate. So I can see the active jobs, I can see the queue jobs. So if I now zoom in by just drag and dropping, I can actually see what is happening here. If I see that there's a little bit of a spike, I can deep dive. So I can go into like the Java heap space. I can see in how things are happening with memory, with the thread statistics, the garbage collector, all those things that you might need to debug the performance of your application. But I can also zoom deeper into the application performance. So I can see my job queue health. I can see like while my CPU is correlating with the jobs and all those kind of things. I can see how it happens with my system resource allocation. And yeah, you remember we had that spike of jobs, but if I look at the CPU, it's not really a problem that my system is not super healthy. And of course, these kind of tools can also be configured to send alerts, which is really, really nice, because that means you don't have to worry about like looking at this all the time, you can actually say there's a couple of metrics I really care about. Let's say the queue size. And if that queue size, that big number here, gets too big, then you actually trigger an alert to make sure that somebody gets an SMS, an email, a Slack message, or maybe even PagerDuty to have a look at what is happening here. It's actually something that we use under the hood also in the Lobster Cloud to make sure that we deliver the best value for the Lobster Cloud users. And to help you get started, we actually have this dashboard as a template available. So if you have New Relic, you can just turn on this capability, load up the template, and get started. So you don't have to build the dashboard from scratch. And with that, I would like to hand it back to you, Marco.
Awesome, thank you, Rick. So let me share my screen again. So you have seen our third-party observability integration, and it's based on OpenTelemetry protocol. So that means we are not in New Relic or new in Grafana logged in, so to say. We support anything who supports this OpenTelemetry protocol. So if we have used any other tool who supports OpenTelemetry, you can leverage the same functionality there. I think this is more important, but the benefits are clear. You can stick on your tool. You can use custom alerting. Yeah, you can monitor the Lobster data platform as you did it with all the other systems in your infrastructure. And having said that, let me hand over to Jethro, who will wrap up our highlights and also give you an overview about what is also in 26.1. Jethro, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Here I am. So I think it was quite exciting to see these things live. So what you just saw is Trading Partner Manager, how to make it easy for you as a customer to connect with your trading partners. You saw Process Map to visualize profiles and how they all interact with the rest of the platform. You saw new Pathfinder capabilities and finally observability. But there is even more in the platform with this new release. I want to highlight just a few small examples. So first of all, we also make a Google PubSub available for everybody as a first-class citizen. So we have MQTT, AMQP, Kafka, those types of things. Google PubSub is now also supported, so you can use that if you want to. Another major highlight for me is that we put SSO configuration into the user interface instead of only in the XML files. This makes it much easier for you to configure single sign-on, even test live in the platform if it works without a restart. So it makes it a lot easier to configure this, just saving you and your IT administrators time. Two other things to mention is REST API. We have improved how you can publish REST APIs, and sneak preview is that we will invest in that further for the next release. So now it's a launch of the first improvements, more is coming. And finally, centralized password management. What we see is many customers use HashiCorp Vault or Azure Key Vault to store passwords, and then they have to copy them over to the platform. And from a security and a governance point of view, that's not great. So we can now integrate the platform with Azure Key Vault or HashiCorp Key Vault, and then we can resolve the passwords from there, allowing you to save your passwords only in one place and also refresh them there, which makes it a lot easier to manage passwords. And we also plan to do this in the future for certificates. Now, moving forward, three other changes in the proximity of the platform. First of all, we centralized all of our documentation in one place called docs.lobsterworld.com. You can go there, you will see integration, orchestration, documentation fully together. And this is the place from which we will further optimize and improve our documentation. So one central place, easier search also there. But personally, I feel it also looks a bit better. So please go there. Also, the platform links to that location now. So this is where our documentation will evolve. Secondly, we fully replaced the portal.lobster.de page with the update center. Since 1st of January, the portal.lobster.de is also offline. Update center is the replacement. And finally, we have started to share the uptime and availability of both the Lobster Cloud as well as our Lobster services, such as Pathfinder and others, in the transparent status page. If you go to that link you see on the screen, what you can do is you can actually see live, is the Lobster Cloud and the Lobster services available or not. You can see the uptime over the last 30 days. You can subscribe to maintenance notifications, so you get an email. You can also subscribe to immediate emails if something goes down. So you're automatically immediately informed if there is an issue. Now, of course, this rarely happens, but we felt we wanted to be very transparent to all of you, so you can see how the cloud is running and immediate notifications if there is an important change or maintenance being scheduled. So I would say these are all important improvements which we wanted to share with you. Now, what is next? The next release is already in mid-April. I know Rick and the team are already building the first new capabilities. A little bit of a sneak preview, what you're planning to do. We want to move more configuration changes from XMLs into the user interface to allow you to have more self-service capabilities in an easier way, just like we did with SSO in this release. Secondly, like I already said, we are upgrading in how you publish REST APIs, and we want to really make that much stronger in the next release. And then we will also share it with you formally in this webinar, including things like versioning and topics like that. And finally, we are looking into CAP connector additions. So PostNL or some DPD or Swiss Post. We're looking at various alternatives to also add to the CAP connector, which we launched the last release already, and make it stronger based on your feedback, which we saw coming in. Speaking of that feedback, we have our public roadmap. It's on the website. We plan, of course, much more than just these 3 features for 26.2. We are actively updating the roadmap portal today. So if you look at it later today or on Monday, you will see all the plans we have for 26.2 already in the work in progress tab. You can also provide feedback. You can submit new IDs. You can upvote features. We see lots of you doing it. Please keep it coming, because we really genuinely look at this and help it to use it to drive our investment decisions. So we're very happy with the feedback we get from all of you there. Before we take it to the questions, one small call to action. We have a next Lobster Data Hero Summit, this time an international one. It's in the Netherlands. It's a smaller scale than the big one in Munich, for those of you who were there. This is really focused more on the international customers. Feel free to join us. It's on the 12th of March. I will personally be there. Many of our teams will be there. We will talk about how you can improve, let's say, data integration all along the supply chain, what role AI will play. There will be many customers and partners speaking about their use cases. So I would very much like to invite all of you. Take a look. Feel free to join. We're very happy to have you there and to engage with you directly in a physical, intimate setting. So with that, I would like to take it to the questions, because I've seen a lot of them. So I would like to invite the rest on stage. Yes, thank you. The plan is I will look at the questions, kind of distribute them across the people. There are many. I'm sure we won't be able to answer them all, but we'll try to distribute it across the topics. So maybe we can start with Trading Partner Manager. I saw a couple of questions there around how to renew certificates, for example, and also if it is branded with the customer invites. So maybe Marco, you can take some of those Trading Partner Manager questions.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, Trading Partner Manager is made for self-service your trading partners and your customers. That means they can upload new certificate. We can also alert them, if I'm not mistaken, if they have to renew a certificate via email. And they are just working on this one single interface in Trading Partner Manager, and the rest is organized by our automation. Julius, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I saw some more detailed question to the regarding the Trading Partner Manager. So one was if it's also possible to manage, let's say, user permissions. This is, let's say, a hybrid use case of the Trading Partner Manager. We will manage the basic information and the most commonly used fields that need to be set up in the individually between platform user and a partner. And there will be a section on your LDP and your channels that allow, let's say, fine tuning of those channels. And one is this managing the permissions of a particular user. And now in the first version, we have this, let's say, hybrid approach where we say most of the most common, let's say, tasks to set up a channel are managed by TPM, and a platform user doesn't need to really touch the channel. But if you go, let's say, into advanced settings, this is still sits in the LDP then. Maybe I'll pick up another one. There was a question regarding storing confidential information in the trading partner manager centralized service. This is not the case. So explicitly, we build our architecture in a way that confidential information is still just stored in the LDP itself. And for, let's say, the submission of created passwords or whatever, this is also not stored, but it's, let's say, put into an encrypted payload, which is passed over to the LDP, and then it's stored in the particular platform. Another question was if it's I will just go through the technical TPM questions, if that's all right. Another one was if there is also the possibility to set up HTTPS channels. Quick answer, not for now. We started with, let's say, the most commonly used types of channels in the first version, which is SFTP, AS2, and OFTP2. But as Jethro already indicated, we are looking or for your feedback also regarding this, let's say, addition of this kind of features in the product roadmap, and we definitely plan to add additional capabilities in that. So.
Okay, my last thing to add here, what I saw is, for sure, it's also possible to brand it and customize that, right? So at the moment, it's just the email, so you can upload your own logos, use your own color scheme, also use your own terms and conditions and GDPR agreements. Anything can be customizable from your side that it fits to your business. In the next version, we also plan to customize the portal itself so that you can also brand that. As Julius said, so this is just the first step, and we continue to invest into it. Also consider different other solutions like manage channels you already have on the LDP or make them available through Trading Partner Manager if you want that, all that stuff. Now back to Jethro.
Yes, so one thing, just to make it super clear, all the things you saw today are part of the standard pricing. I think somebody asked if some of these things cost additional money, and the answer is no. All of this is part of the data platform. So if you upgrade to the data platform, this is included. So you don't have to pay additionally for example, Trading Partner Manager. So to make it super clear. Maybe we can take some of the questions also to the process map. I have a German one here, Marco.
There's one technical question on Trading Partner Manager on that topic, with how we deal with DMZ and firewall issues and all those kind of things.
Yes, in general, we consider this in the Trading Partner Manager, and it's possible for you as a platform user to indicate that you're actually using a firewall and require whitelisting. So this would appear in the view of the trading partner, that he should, let's say, provide information about his IP addresses that he will use for this particular connection. And the other way around, you can also share your outgoing IP addresses so that the trading partner can also do some whitelisting. So this is part of the management, but it was skipped for time reasons in the live demo.
So right now it's a manual action that will be included in emails. And I think it's awesome to know that the product vision is that actually, if you're running in the Lobster cloud, you can configure it to automatically whitelist those IP addresses. Long-term vision, not today.
Exactly. Marco, I saw the first German question there coming in for the process map. Maybe you can take that one?
You mean, ist der Process Map dasselbe wie Dataflow?
Ja.
Muss ich den Process Map wieder aktiv gestalten oder passiert dies automatisch? Yes. Now, so let me translate that for the whole audience. So Process Map is a total new product. It's totally different from Dataflow. Dataflow still exists in our software, but for sure, we aiming for to make it more automated, more better. So at the moment, all this, I would say, adjustments on the process map is generated automatically. So nothing is have to be there manually at the moment. In the next iteration phase, we plan for 26.3. We already make some adjustments here to save the layout. You can do adjustment if needed, but anything else is, so to say, automated here. And on the long run, for sure, it will be replaced Dataflow.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I saw a question coming in about language, if these features are available in German. The answer is yes. So Trading Partner Manager is German, but also, of course, the user interface of Process Map is also available in German. You can even use Pathfinder in German. Just wanted to make that statement because it's important to us. It works just as well in German as in English. And for Trading Partner Manager specifically, we know you have customers in different countries, so we are considering to add for Trading Partner Manager maybe even additional languages, but we of course do that based on customer demand. When we are talking about Process Map, because you were on the topic, maybe one for you, Rick. The question is that there are customers who heavily rely on message-based communication between profiles. So you have dynamic profile evaluation at runtime. How does that work?
Yes, so it differs on how you've configured it. So if you've configured it to call a profile, it really comes from a variable. There are cases when we do not know which profile it is because we cannot like find that in the underlying database. Then we'll say unknown profile. So at least you'll see that a profile is called. You might not know which one, but you see this. In other cases, if you have particular logic to determine this, sometimes we show the name of the logic, like of the function, the macro, or the variable, to actually know which profile it is. So we try to do it as good as possible, but we, of course, don't dive into like a custom database statement or anything like it to give this. It might mean that if you have this logic, that it could be interesting to say, maybe you slightly want to change the way how you build up those profile change with like if statements or anything like it to make sure that in the future you can see it even better in Process Map. If you have a particular use case that's interesting, yeah, we can always try to have some contact to see actually how we can learn from that particular use case.
Yeah, that's indeed, that makes total sense. A follow-up question I also see is, do we plan to add, let's say, an evaluation saying is an integration high, medium, or low complexity based on the map, and maybe even provide suggestions on how to reduce complexity? Maybe Marco, it's an interesting one for you.
Yeah, so I think this is also part of our long-term Pathfinder strategy to help you to be more productive. And for sure, as I said, Copilot for our system, it's not in general generative AI. So meaning anything we do in Pathfinder should help you to be more productive. And this for sure is something we think about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think here another question which I can answer is, Process Map is in fact a further development of Dataflow. So people are observant. Yes, that's correct. It's a little bit maybe it's a new view on an improved view visualization of profiles and profile change and expanded because Dataflow was quite constrained to profiles and some of the things around an integration. But Process Map goes across the full platform. So if you call a profile from a portal, or if you put in our new REST API capabilities, put the REST API on top of a profile, it will all show, even if you use MCP tools, which we last released, if you remember, regarding AI. All of those things connect to this, are visible through Process Map, and that's why Process Map is our future into visualization. It's just a starting point. You will see more of this. We create a foundation now, and on top of Process Map, we can do a lot of cool things. Which you will see over the course of the next releases. So I would indeed say it's a replacement or further development of what Dataflow can do today with a stronger foundation. Maybe we can switch to some Pathfinder questions to balance a little bit the questions. Let me see. There is a, let's see, yeah, there was a German one there. I think a couple of German ones, Marco, which you can maybe take.
Let me
About which models?
Yeah, I think let's start with this. This is a really common question, which models we are using on Pathfinder. As you can see on the architecture diagram from Rick, Pathfinder is not just one model. Pathfinder is an orchestrated system of different agents. So we follow the Unix philosophy, one tool, one job. And in the end, each agent uses a different model, depending on which one is the best for the job. So there is no answer here. We have a lot of local models we just host on our data center for sure. And we train dedicated for this job. So yeah, it's hard to answer. We're just using GPT 5.1 because that's not true.
Exactly. And I think a follow-up question is, in German, gibt es Pathfinder features die nur in einer Cloud und nicht in einer on-premise installation verfügbar sind? I am going to give German a shot.
So to easily translate that, is Pathfinder only available in the cloud or is Pathfinder also available on-prem? Pathfinder is available from your perspective on both sides, even if you host on-prem or in the cloud, but the service itself lives in our cloud. Meaning that if your Lobster data platform have no access to the internet, he cannot interact with Pathfinder.
Yes, exactly. Let me see. New questions keep popping up. Maybe let's answer a few also on observability. I see some questions about which observability tools do we support. So Rick, maybe give it to you. I see something about Logic Monitor and Microsoft Application Insight, for example.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mentioned also in my talk. So anything who supports OpenTelemetry protocol, who's the majority of their tools, will work with our integration. So we did some, I would say, starter templates for New Relic and for the most common ones we see. But if your tools support OpenTelemetry, feel free to use it. No worries.
Yes, it should work out of the box.
Both Logic Monitor as well as Microsoft Application Insights should support this. So I'm curious to hear if it actually works for you.
Yes.
Yeah, so for those people who ask the questions for Logic Monitor and Microsoft as well, feel free to let us know if it works for you, or because it could be there's a low-hanging fruit, small issue which we can solve in the OpenTelemetry setup to make it work for you as well. So we tested it with Grafana, New Relic, and Datadog, and so that works 100% sure. But we would really love to engage with you. So if you test it, let us know. If it doesn't work, also let us know, because maybe there are small things we can solve for this, because we don't have all the monitoring tools in-house. We cannot test them all. This is where we would love to have collaboration with you. So hit us up via email or via product board, and we'll reach out to you to settle or help you out further. There was also a question about, can you retroactively, so look back, for example, Rick, with the monitoring to see a certain job yesterday caused a spike, or we saw some weird behavior. Can I look at historic data?
Yes, so with those capabilities, you can always search back in the data. So if you want to investigate a particular spike, you can do that. What we do not do is send all the individual logs right now, or all the individual jobs. So you don't get all the insights. You always need to use it side by side with, for instance, the logging capabilities of the Lobster data platform itself. However, we have a long-term vision to make sure that we also add logs and additional information to observability tools. So I would say, yes, you can go back in time. No, we do not have all the information of all individual jobs in the database, because that is also something that basically it will blow up the systems, those monitoring systems. They're not designed for that.
There is a very specific one regarding OpenTelemetry. How can we monitor the DMZ server when they have pushback? At the moment, we need to access the DMZ directly for monitoring software. I honestly don't know the answer, Rick. I'm hoping you do. Otherwise, we can reach out to this particular customer offline.
So right now, DMZ is not supported in an intelligent way through the main nodes. This is something that we are aware of and that we have on the list of things to investigate. It's the same with bridge, for instance. Like your bridge instances, you cannot link them to OpenTelemetry directly as well through this setup. It's also something that we know that we might want to look at in the future.
Maybe a short one in addition to that, we mentioned a New Relic template. Is there also available for other tools? Yes, we have that for Grafana as well. And it will be available in our handbook. There's just a starter template, the same what you saw from Rick. For New Relic, we have for Grafana.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me see, we still have some minutes left. I see another one coming in just now about process map. Will the new process map also show profile chains based on local directories? So for example, one profile places a file in the directory in phase 6, and another one is picking that file up based on a cron execution or a file pickup.
I think Rick, maybe you can.
Yeah, I think that I don't think you will see that.
Yes, no, so that's a hidden API. Basically, if you send messages, we will pick it up. If you basically, well, don't send messages, but actually look at just like putting a file in a folder and you create this decoupled process, it actually is a decoupled process right now.
Yeah, because it's too loosely coupled for profile for our process map to pick it up today. I see another nice one, which actually slightly goes to the direction we're currently investigating, which is, does process map work on actual job runs to visualize already processed runs? Because then you could see the variable process profiles, because the calls can then be visible because you don't have an executed profile chain, right? Marco, maybe you can talk a little bit about where we are discovering or researching to take process map in that case with job monitoring.
Yeah, you said exactly. So not yet, but that's exactly one of the next steps we are discovering at the moment, because we find it really valuable if you can not just see what's happening in your whole workflow, but also see where it stocks and
exactly.
Have some visualization there. It's not so an easy one, so that's why maybe I cannot promise to have it in 26.3, but definitely it's something on our list.
Yeah, exactly. I think we answered most of the questions. Let me scroll through the list. There is a question in German. Maybe you can find that one, Marco, about DMZ. You have to probably find it in the long list.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
We're struggling with our tool here. Noch eine Frage zu DMZ-Logs. Ja. Noch eine Frage zu DMZ-Logs. Wir haben letztens versucht herauszufinden, wo und wann eine Datei geholt wurde, und in einem internen Log zu sehen, man ja nur, dass es ging, und erst im DMZ-Log haben wir gesehen, dass mehr Infos dort stehen. Kann man die DMZ-Logs vielleicht intern sicherer machen? So the question is about the DMZ-Logs, and could we make the DMZ-Logs available somehow internally so that they can see what's happening? Because obviously DMZ logs are not accessible.
I would say this to me is a great reason to do a shout out to our roadmap portal where you can submit IDs, because I don't think it is possible today. So I would file it there so we can have a look.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And then let me take the last question and send it to you, I guess, Rick. We mentioned the New Relic dashboard template, and you also showed that. Is there also one for Grafana?
I will answer that.
Yes, Grafana will be coming.
Yes, exactly. So we will share those dashboard templates with all of you. Now, with that, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. We're on the top of the hour. I would very much thank everybody who joined this webinar today. I really appreciate your great questions. If there are questions we didn't answer yet, we will get a full list of the questions later today or early next week, and we can answer some by email as well. Like we said, please provide us feedback to the roadmap portal. I would love to hear from you if you set up new OpenTelemetry with additional monitoring tools, because then we can add it to our list, and also shout out to you, because thank you for that. And finally, we would love to see you again in 3 months for our next release webinar, or at our Data Hero Summit X in the Netherlands, also in March. So thank you very much. We're looking forward to see what you do with the technology, and love to speak to you in 3 months' time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.